Hello. This tutorial's goal is to help people who've decided they need to get their act together in regards to managing their passwords and have chosen Bitwarden for this purpose. I personally think it's a great choice, as Bitwarden has no bloat of tech features which you don't want or need. It's solely concentrated on essential password management features. Just for reference, I'm making this tutorial in June 2022. I'll quickly advise you that my name is David and I come from Stoke-on-Trent in central England. I work in IT security and have developed a passion for voluntary work, where I assist the elderly or those generally bewildered by the digital world. I find myself in roles which go by the names of IT buddy or digital friend. I think both terms are cool. My favourite activity is demystifying the challenge of managing passwords by delivering what I call good enough security. I enjoy explaining how this can be achieved without needing skills akin to a rocket scientist or requiring passwords which resemble ancient Egyptian hieroglyphics. It would be dishonest of me to say that using Bitwarden is dead easy. It's a grown-up tool designed to be used on grown-up tasks. There's a learning curve which you'll need to commit to, but it's a skills journey very much worth going on. I think it's got to be worth spending a few hours persevering with learning Bitwarden, such that you reach the stage where you become comfortable with managing your passwords. I'm hopeful that this tutorial will be of help to you in reaching that goal, but I'm aware that my explanations and instructions won't be to everyone's taste. If this is the case for you, please don't give up on Bitwarden. Have a look for Bitwarden tutorials elsewhere. One way or another, if you persevere with Bitwarden, I'm certain you'll reach a great outcome. I've segmented this video into 8 chapters, which you can now see displayed on your screen. Chapter 1 is this introduction. In Chapter 2, I'll give you a few practical ideas to consider with the Bitwarden master password. In Chapter 3, I demonstrate using a Google Chrome browser to create a brand new Bitwarden Vault account. In Chapter 4, I install Bitwarden software for browser integration. In Chapter 5, I create Bitwarden password records while logging on at websites with existing credentials. In Chapter 6, I create a Bitwarden password record in advance so that it's ready to use when logging on at a target website. In Chapter 7, I explain how passwords you already have saved in your browser can be transferred into Bitwarden. In Chapter 8, I demonstrate some of the things you can do with the Bitwarden mobile device app. If you inspect the YouTube description area, you'll see the chapters listed as a table of contents. I'm hopeful that you'll use this tutorial as something to refer back to intermittently as you start on your Bitwarden journey, rather than trying to consume it in one 50-minute or so block. I've also put a link to a PDF of this script I'm reading from in the YouTube description area. You can then use the script to follow the narrative at your own pace. Here's a tiny bit about the Bitwarden architecture. The Bitwarden Vault, I'll pretend it's a database, where you record your passwords, is located in the cloud, i.e. not directly on your computer or mobile device. For those among you with a techie interest in these matters, bitwarden.com and all of the associated paraphernalia utilises the Microsoft Azure cloud platform. Your cloud-based vault is securely encrypted using a Bitwarden master password, which you establish when you create your Bitwarden Vault account. I should add at this stage that Bitwarden is widely respected in the IT security community. It's open source software and therefore open to public scrutiny by all the experts out there. There's no need to install any software on a desktop if that's your prime device. There is a desktop app which you can install if that's your preference, but you can do everything you need in Bitwarden solely by using a browser. When using a mobile device, you will need to install a Bitwarden app, which has access to a synchronized copy of your Bitwarden vault. This means that you can access lists of your passwords when your device is offline, while the master copy, so to speak, is always stored in the cloud. In addition to supporting application login on your mobile device, the Bitwarden mobile app can simply be used as an account name and password register. This can be helpful when you're using a computer at work or at a friend's house or on a shared computer at a hotel, etc. In these circumstances, you typically just want to be able to retrieve the necessary account name and password from your device to use on a particular website. When using Bitwarden on mobile devices, synchronization with your cloud vault is done auto-magically. I shan't describe Bitwarden's architecture any more than that. For those of you to whom it would be of value, everything is fully documented on bitwarden.com. Chapter 2. You'll need a very good Bitwarden master password, as it's the key to your front door, so to speak. If you already have ideas about how to create a strong password, that's great. Otherwise, I'd recommend you follow the UK's National Cyber Security Centre's advice of creating a password based on what they refer to as 3 random words. In a nutshell, it's more important to have a longer password, over 30 characters, based upon 3 recognisable words than get hung up on using an obscure variety of characters, which can result in a password and ends up looking like ancient Egyptian hieroglyphics. There's a link to the relevant page on NCSC's website in the YouTube description area. By way of example of the 3 random words password approach, charming, beautiful Amsterdam and ridiculous, unbelievable Transylvania are both entirely suitable. You might be unaware that the spaces between the 3 words are legitimate complex characters, akin to exclamation marks or dollar signs. I'd suggest that you also include a number somewhere in your password, purely because most passwords demand that your passwords contain one. I strongly advise that you come up with a method for writing down your Bitwarden master password on paper. In essence, you need an approach for recording your master password beyond relying upon your memory. In the event of you forgetting it, there is no emergency break glass option. Part of the strength of Bitwarden's architecture is that Bitwarden's application and support staff aren't in any position to facilitate a reset of your master password. Bitwarden uses an email address as the username for your account. If you plan to use a Gmail or Yahoo or Outlook or iCloud email address, etc., that's entirely fine. Now here's a tip you'll ignore. Now is a very good time for you to update your email account password with a stronger one. I imagine you'll likely be thinking it's just too much hassle. Really, it's taking 10 minutes to update your password on your computer, tablet and phone such a big deal. You're investing time and effort to sorting out your passwords in general by going down the Bitwarden route. It makes perfect sense to make your email account password suitably strong at this time. Like your Bitwarden master password, I recommend that you record your email password somewhere on paper. Before going online to create a Bitwarden Vault account, I'm going to evidence how it's perfectly feasible to have an account name and password determined right at the beginning of the process. You can see on your screen the credentials I'm going to use for this tutorial. This password is considered suitably strong since it's unguessable, over 30 characters in length, contains upper and lowercase letters and numbers, contains complex characters, the spaces. I'll reiterate what I said earlier. You really need to think of a suitable method for recording your Bitwarden master password on paper. I've given an example in red of how I might write down the master password, where you can see that I've replaced the spaces with special characters. That does the job perfectly well. I want to reassure you that you don't need to go through this exercise for all of the various accounts you have. This is just for your Bitwarden master password and perhaps your email password. Going forward, it's recommended that you will let Bitwarden create passwords for your various accounts. You can do this because you won't need to remember any of them yourself. Bitwarden will help you reach password nirvana. I've deliberately positioned this chapter before undertaking any interactive tasks, as I feel you should create and record your Bitwarden master password before you even think about accessing bitwarden.com. I'll now be recording web browser activity rather than my mugshot, such that you can watch various tasks performed interactively. I'm going through this chapter very steadily so that you can carefully watch what I'm doing, rather than give you the impression that I want this exercise over and done with as fast as possible. My first task is to start Google Chrome and open www.bitwarden.com. In the page which appears, I click on the login link in the top right corner of the screen. I then click on the Create Account button. I shall now begin entering the details which you can see on the screen. I've pasted in the email address davew30,000, which you can see. The name field is used as a label. It's not actually an identifying attribute in my Bitwarden account. For practical purposes in this tutorial, I'm copying and pasting the password from a text file. I'll repeatedly use the Show Password button and eye graphic whenever I paste password values. This isn't something you'd ordinarily need to do. I'll say this one last time. You really should make a record of the Bitwarden master password somewhere. Please don't solely rely upon your memory. The password hint is simply a memory trigger. I'll use the word Queen. And finally, I'll click on the Submit button. I hope you'd agree that having established the password before I went online took any drama out of the Bitwarden account creation process. A Bitwarden login panel appears, which can be used to access my new Bitwarden password vault. So I'll enter my Bitwarden password by pasting and logging in. I'll ensure that the Remember Email checkbox link option is checked, and there's also a human or web bot detection prompt. Because I am actually a human being, I click on the checkbox to confirm as such and then click Login. If you're not a human, please click the Cancel button. The new Bitwarden Vault is presented. This is a suitable time for you to create a browser bookmark for Bitwarden's website. I'll now go through an email verification exercise. Firstly, I'll click the Send Email button. I'll now open my email account, where I will have received an email from Bitwarden entitled Verify Your Email. So I'll open the email message and then click Verify Email Address Now. A new browser tab will be opened requesting that I enter the master password again. So I'll close the previous Bitwarden tab I was using and paste the password in again. and then click the login button. Once my vault is displayed, I can be satisfied that I've done the hardest part of the bitwarden setup. To get maximum advantage from bitwarden, it's necessary to install the bitwarden extension into whichever browser is used. If you already have passwords being saved by your browser, this needs to be disabled before going any further, as ongoing passwords will be saved into bitwarden. If this method of saving passwords is something which you do, don't worry, your passwords can all be exported from your browser at a later time and then imported into your bitwarden vault. This will be addressed in Chapter 7. Be reassured, disabling browser password saving from this point forward won't affect any passwords you've previously saved. I'll start Chrome, then go to the settings page by clicking the three dots in the top right corner and selecting settings from the menu that's presented. I then click on the autofill link among the list of settings. And I then click on the passwords link. If the offer to save passwords and auto sign-in options are enabled, I click the relevant sliders to turn them off. Next, I'm going to actually install the bitwarden extension. So I'll go to chrome.google.com/webstore. And I'll search for the word bitwarden. And I click on the first returned entry. I'll then click on the Add to Chrome button and then click the Add Extension button. To make the bitwarden extension icon remain on the Chrome toolbar at the top right, I'll click on the jigsaw piece icon in the toolbar. Here, extensions. Now then click on the pin button which appears to the right of the bitwarden description. And you can now see that the bitwarden extension icon, the shield, appears grey in colour. This is because it hasn't been linked to my bitwarden account yet. So I click on the bitwarden extension icon and a login panel is presented. So I'll click on login and then I'll enter the email address and password. As usual, I'll be copying and pasting during this demo. And then I'll click on the login link. I can observe that the bitwarden extension icon in the toolbar has now changed to blue. This confirms that it has indeed logged in. And in the bitwarden browser window, the bitwarden password vault is opened. Success! Chapter 5. In this exercise, I'm working on the premise that I've previously established a username and password for Screwfix.com, which sells tools and the like. I'll log into Screwfix by typing in the credentials in the normal way and then observe the bitwarden extension dynamically create a new record in bitwarden based upon this information. So first of all, I'll fire up my browser. If the bitwarden icon shows a padlock, it indicates that bitwarden access is locked. Because this is my case here, I'll click on it and log in. So this has opened up my Bitwarden Vault panel, and I can see that the padlock has disappeared from the Bitwarden extension icon. I'll now go to the Screwfix web page in my browser. And I'll type in or paste in my email address and password. When I click on Sign In button, it's going to kick the Bitwarden extension into life, as Bitwarden is monitoring for browser activity of this type. So a Bitwarden message bar appears near the top of the browser window. This is to enable me to request the username and password be saved into Bitwarden. So I'll click on the Save button. And confirmation is presented that Screwfix login is successful. I'll now demonstrate the Screwfix login experience. Now I have a Screwfix password record saved in my Bitwarden Vault. To prepare for this demonstration, I'll deliberately log out of the Screwfix website and then restart my browser. So I'll restart the browser, and because the browser has been restarted, the Bitwarden extension icon has been locked. So I need to enter my password again, my Bitwarden master password. Unlock. I'll now browse to screwfix.com. I can immediately see that the Bitwarden icon has a number on it. This indicates there's a password record stored in my Bitwarden Vault for this website. Now I'm on this page, I'm going to click on the Bitwarden icon. A list of password logins recorded in my Bitwarden Vault for the target website, Screwfix, is presented. In this case, there's only one suitable record, screwfix.com, so I click on it. And then click the Sign In button on the web page. I can see that I'm successfully logged in to screwfix.com. Just for your reassurance, I should tell you that this was a one-time exercise. Now that Bitwarden has created a record for Screwfix, future login will be automatic. I don't need to log into the Bitwarden extension again for this automatic login to work. It was only necessary to get the initial setup done. I'll demonstrate this by restarting my browser. We can now see that the Bitwarden icon has a padlock evidencing that it's not logged into. I shall now go to screwfix.com and see that I am logged in. This feels like much the same way which the browser was previously doing for me, but now the Bitwarden extension is doing this login on my behalf. Chapter 6. The premise here is that I want to create a brand new account for the BBC's website. However, I'm going to create the password record in Bitwarden first. I'll then use that information when registering, i.e. creating the account on the BBC's website. I'll then demonstrate how the Bitwarden browser extension seamlessly submits my account information to the BBC website on an ongoing basis, much like what saved browser passwords would have been doing. When creating passwords from scratch, I advise use of the Bitwarden password generator which is available. You'll see me doing this. This approach may feel a little unusual, as you'll only so much as glance at the passwords which are generated, and they won't need writing down or committing to memory. However, given that we're relying upon Bitwarden to store passwords from now on, this makes perfect sense. The task is done directly by directly accessing my Bitwarden vault with a web browser. So I'll start my browser up and open the bitwarden.com login page. I'll enter my Bitwarden password, then click the login button. I can observe that my Bitwarden vault only contains one entry, the recently created screwfix.com. Before going ahead and creating the BBC account, I need to set a default password behaviour when using Bitwarden to automatically generate new passwords. By this I mean defining the type of characters to be used and how long the passwords should be, etc. So I'll click on the Tools link. I'll leave the majority of settings at their defaults, but ensure that all 5 of the options are selected, as you can see me doing. This means that all new passwords are automatically generated by Bitwarden will reflect these characteristics. When it all looks shipshape, I click on the My Vault menu item at the top left. And then click on the Add Item button. This is where I'll create the new BBC record. So I enter a name. This is like a Bitwarden label. And I'll then enter the username, which is going to be my email account. Copy that. And I enter the BBC's website's hostname, bbc.com, in the URI1 field. This is used by Bitwarden to associate the credentials being created with the BBC's website. Now we get to the passwords bit. On the right side of the password field, I click on the Generate icon, the circling arrows icon. I next click on the eye icon to the right of the password to display the automatically generated password. I'm only doing this step for extra reassurance, it isn't strictly necessary. Remember, I don't need to write this password down. The whole point of this exercise is that Bitwarden will make it automatically available when it's next needed. This might be to automatically log you in back into the website on this computer, or it may be to simply display it in a Bitwarden app on a mobile device when you're logging on at a different computer. I'll type in any notes that might be useful. Finally, when everything looks how I want it, I'll click on the Save button. I can see that the new BBC entry in my Bitwarden vault has been created. I'm now going to demonstrate Bitwarden helping to create an account on the bbc.com. So here goes. But before proceeding, I want to be sure that I'm logged into the Bitwarden extension. I can see that the Bitwarden icon no longer has a padlock on it. I'm now going to add a new tab and go to the BBC web page. I don't have an account, so I'll click on the Register Now link. And I'll click through some pages until I reach the one where account credentials are needed to be provided. I can see that, and I can observe, so I'm now on the page, the BBC page, where I need to enter credentials, and I can observe that the bitwarden icon has a number against it. This indicates that it's detected that my bitwarden vault has an entry containing the BBC website's address. So I'll click on the icon. I'll now click on the BBC record in the panel that's popped up. This will copy the username and password into the BBC web page. I'll click on the Show Password link to reassure me that the password field has indeed been populated. Please note, as well as clicking on the BBC record to trigger bitwarden to automatically populate the requisite fields, I could have done the following. In the bitwarden record, I could copy the username into the clipboard and where I would paste it onto the web page. I could also click on the key icon in the BBC record, which would copy the password into the clipboard from where I could paste it into the web page. I digressed. I previously clicked on the BBC record to trigger bitwarden automatically populating the requisite fields. I'll now complete the necessary remaining fields on the web page. And I'll click on the Register button. And I'll click on the Continue button, and there's a confirmation that the BBC account is signed in. For the final exercise in this chapter, I'll demonstrate how bitwarden seamlessly logs me into the website on an ongoing basis. To prepare for this final exercise, I'll click the Sign Out link and close the browser. So now I'm going to open the browser again, and I'll sign in to the bitwarden extension. Now I'll return to the BBC login page. And observe that the bitwarden icon has a number displayed against it. I'll click on the bitwarden icon, then click on the BBC entry which is presented. The BBC credentials are automatically populated into the relevant fields. I'll finally click on the Sign In button to finish. And I can observe that the BBC website is logged in. This is the last time you need to engage with bitwarden to log you into the BBC website. From this point forward, bitwarden will auto-magically perform the credential submission on your behalf until such time that you log out of the BBC web page. I'll quickly demonstrate this by closing the browser and open it again and go into the BBC's website, where I can see that I'm still logged in. Chapter 7. For this demonstration, I'll be exporting passwords for the websites of Argos, a catalogue shop, and Papa John's Takeaway Pizza, which were previously saved into my browser. The Chrome password export process generates a comma-separated variable file, what is referred to more simply as a CSV file. You can think of a CSV file as being akin to a spreadsheet. I'll show you a previously created CSV file so that you'll understand better what I'm talking about. Once Chrome has generated the CSV file, I'll save it onto my Windows desktop, which will suffice for the purpose of this demo. While Chrome is used for this demonstration, all browsers actually have a similar export functionality. The file demonstrates that you can see all of the passwords are unencrypted. Also, you should do the bitwarden import process straight after doing the Chrome export. Once the import process is completed, it's essentially to immediately delete the CSV file you've used. If you're doing this on Windows, be sure to empty your recycle bin straight afterwards. You must only go through this export and import process once you become reasonably familiar with bitwarden. To start the export process in Chrome, I click on the user icon in the top right of the browser. I then click on the icon representing the key, the left of the three encircled icons. I scroll down to the Saved Passwords section and then click on the three corresponding dots. I'll click on the Export Passwords button and Export Passwords again. If I'm prompted to enter login credentials for my Windows system, I then do so. I then need to choose a location to save the CSV file. For this demonstration, I'll save it to my desktop. Remember, this file will contain unencrypted passwords, so I must only save it to a location where I know I can quickly find it and delete it once the bitwarden process has been completed. I'll now open this file that's been generated. And like before, we can see that the account information is insecurely stored. The passwords are right there. So, now onto the import. The import of the CSV file must be done in a browser logged on directly to your bitwarden.com web vault, i.e. not in the bitwarden extension. So I'll open up Chrome and go to bitwarden.com, and then I'll click on the login link. So I need to enter my master password and click login. The bitwarden vault displays the two existing password entries for BBC and Screwfix. I'll click on the Tools menu and then click on the Import Data link. I'll change the format type to Chrome CSV and then browse to the previously generated file. Finally, I'll click on the Import Data button. And I can observe that the imported records appear in my bitwarden vault. That's the Argos and Papa John's entry. These passwords can now be leveraged when logging on to Argos and Papa John's the next time. This would be similar to what I demonstrated in Chapter 6 when logging on to the Screwfix website. Chapter 8, Part 1 is installing the bitwarden app onto my mobile device. So on my mobile phone, I'll open the Play Store app and then I'll search for bitwarden. I'll then click on the install button so I can successfully see the Bitwarden app has been installed because there's an icon there. Part 2 is logging into the Bitwarden app for the first time. I'll click on the Bitwarden app for the first to open it. Now before I'm finished, I want to be enable biometrics login, meaning that I can use my thumbprint to log in the future. So I'll click on the settings button, then enable unlock with biometrics. I could also have set a PIN for this purpose. I'll now close the Bitwarden app before the next demo. Part 3 is using the Bitwarden app to log into an app. I'll now open Bitwarden. This time I'll be using a thumbprint, i.e. biometrics, to perform the login. So I'm now going to present my thumb to the device. I'm now going to go into the BBC app and click on the sign in button. I'm now going to use app switching to paste the user account and password from the BBC entry in Bitwarden. So I'll click on BBC, click on the copy username, switch back into the BBC app and paste it. Then I'll switch back into the Bitwarden app and copy the password into the clipboard, switch back into the BBC app and paste in the password. And finally I'll click on sign in. And I can see that I'm successfully logged into the BBC News app. I'm now going to close the BBC app and the Bitwarden app, and then fire up the BBC News app again, and you'll see that I'm still logged in.